At the start of the hearing, a woman was charged with interfering with the duties of a public servant, an offense carrying a possible 6-month jail sentence and a $2,000 fine. According to police, officers responded to a disturbance at the TSC Library Center in Harris County, Texas, on September 26th. While officers were dealing with the original suspect, the woman approached and repeatedly questioned what was happening. Officers said she became belligerent and refused instructions to step back. Although she eventually moved away, she demanded a supervisor and continued involving herself in the incident. When officers later requested her identification, she allegedly refused, attempted to walk away, and resisted detention by throwing herself to the ground, yelling, and wrapping herself around a pole while officers tried to arrest her.
A police supervisor we called to the scene. TSU Sergeant Barnett arrived and spoke privately with the defendant. Afterwards, responding officer requested the defendant's information to report her behavior to her supervisor in the university. The defendant refused to provide it and attempted to bypass the officer. When the officer asked her to identify herself again, the defendant declined and attempted to walk away. As the officer tried to detain her, she began to throw herself on the ground and yell, escalating the disturbance. Several officers issued verbal commands for her to comply. The defendant continued to resist, jumping around and asserting her rights. The officer attempted to escort her outside. The defendant then wrapped her arms and legs around a pole, continuing to yell. The officers physically pried her from the pole and detained her. The defendant used her body weight to resist and push against the officers. The defendant was then placed in the back of the patrol car without incident.
What was she doing wrong?
So it appears she wasn't the initial person causing the disturbance, but when they came to respond to the disturbance that they were called for, she intervened. And once they asked her to remove herself from the situation, she...
And you didn't say, when you initially started saying about everything, you didn't say that she was the initial cause of the disturbance, that there was a call for a disturbance. They get out there and she, I guess...
So what it says is that they made contact with the individual that was causing the disturbance, and then the defendant approached asking...
See, right. So she just comes up, starts being nosy, right?
Right.
And then she basically, I guess, is trying to leave, and then they start asking her for her information.
Well, they were asking her to leave the scene so that they can respond to the disturbance, and she wouldn't comply. I think that's the issue, that she wouldn't leave when they asked her.
Did you say that?
Yes. They asked her to move away from the scene, and she refused to comply.
Will you read that part again?
Mm-hmm. So when she approached the officers repeatedly asked the defendant to step back, and the defendant became belligerent, asserting that they were at her store. She eventually complied and moved away, but
So she complies, she moves away.
Right. But then she came back.
Okay.
And so at that point, when she returned, they asked her to identify herself. She refused to provide her identification. And then at that point, when they asked her to identify herself, she attempted to bypass officers.
As the hearing continued,
she leaves. She's trying to leave.
Closely questioned prosecutors about exactly how the woman had interfered with police duties. Prosecutors argued that her repeated interruptions, refusal to comply with commands, and attempts to obstruct officers during their investigation amounted to interference. However, the judge appeared unconvinced, noting that much of the conduct described involved the woman asking questions and talking to officers. After reviewing the allegations, the judge ultimately found no probable cause and dismissed the charge. Before ending the hearing, the judge warned her to avoid confrontations with law enforcement, saying such encounters rarely end well. The woman then claimed officers injured her during the arrest, including chipping a tooth and leaving bruises. The judge advised her that she could file a complaint with Texas Southern University Police Internal Affairs if she wished to pursue the matter further.
She continually asks, what's going on? What did she do? She asserts, she becomes belligerent, is what the officer says, asserting that they were at her store, obstructing their investigation. Eventually, I don't know what the time frame is, but they say eventually she complies, moves away, but insisted that they need to call a supervisor to the area. A sergeant then spoke with her privately. After They responded and they requested her information to report her behavior to her supervisor at the university, and to identify her, which she refused to do. She then attempts to bypass officers. They ask her for identification again. They're detaining her. She says no.
But what's the interference? What did she specifically do?
Well,
She's just talking to them.
I understand,
Right.
Judge, she's talking to them, but she's saying that they're at her store. She's belligerent, telling them to leave. They're at her store. The position of the state judge is that did obstruct their investigation. I mean, it's not in this, there's multiple senses of obstruction in our opinion. It's not.
Are you losing right now? Okay. Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. All right, I'll find no probable cause.
I'll dismiss the case, Judge.
When you go up and you get into a pissing match with officers, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Every single time. If you go up and you mess with someone who has the power of arrest, you're going to lose every single time. Don't go. It's not hard. I found no probable cause in your case, ma'am. Just be careful. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I want to press charges,
Don't. You know what? Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't.
they assaulted me. Though. They knocked out my tooth. They chipped my tooth. I got bruises on me.
And you can always go file a complaint with Internal Affairs.
That's what I'm asking.
Whatever.
How could I do that? I don't know the protocols.
So, what agency was this? Is this? Did you say it was at a college or?
Yes.
Okay. So you go to the Texas Southern University Police. You go to Internal Affairs, and you can file a complaint that way. Okay, I would take everything that you have, and that's how you do it. Okay, but just be careful.